All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down the latest KeysGuard Night Owl report for October 24th, 2025. Think of this as your essential intelligence briefing. We're going to cut through all the noise and focus on the critical signals you really need to know about what's happening in cyberspace, like right now. So here's our game plan. We'll start with a big picture snapshot of the threat landscape, then we'll dive into the urgent, code red alerts. After that, we'll map out the digital battlefield, take a peek inside the attacker's toolkit, and then, and this is the important part, we'll wrap up with an actionable playbook for your defense. Okay, first up, the threat snapshot. Before we get lost in the weeds, let's get that 30,000-foot view. What's the overall vibe out there in the digital world today? Well, the big takeaway from the report is that the threat level is still high, but the tactics are changing. Attackers are pivoting. Instead of just locking up files with ransomware, they're shifting to straight-up data theft for extortion. Why? Well, it's often faster and just as effective for pressuring victims. And they're getting way smarter, targeting supply chains to poison software updates you already trust. Now for the most urgent part of this briefing. These are the code red alerts. If you pay attention to anything today, this is it. These are the threats that demand your immediate attention. First on the list, VMware Horizon. It is under siege. And no, this is not a drill. We are talking about active, widespread exploitation that is happening as we speak. The report is pointing to a very specific new vulnerability. It's tracked as CVE 2025-43721. A CVE, is basically a unique serial number for a security flaw. And this one is already being used as a weapon by multiple threat groups, including the notorious UNC 3889 and TA 547. Their prime targets? Any unpatched Horizon connection servers they can find hanging out on the internet. And just look at this number. The intelligence community is 90% confident that the group UNC 3889 is a key player here. In the world of threat attribution, where things can be a total guessing game, 90%, that is about as close to a smoking gun as you are ever going to get. The second critical alert is just as serious, if not more so. A brand new zero-day exploit is hitting Microsoft Exchange servers. A zero-day means this is a vulnerability that until right now, nobody knew about. Not the good guys, not the bad guys, nobody. What's really scary here is that this exploit is so new it doesn't even have an official CVE number yet. But it is already being used in widespread attacks. Attackers are sending these cleverly disguised, messed up requests to Exchange servers. When the server tries to read it, boom! It allows the attacker to drop a payload, basically a little script that gives them remote control and a backdoor right into the network. Okay, so we've seen the specific fires. Now let's zoom out and see the whole forest fire. It's time to map out the broader digital battlefield so we can really understand the context for all of these attacks. This table gives us a fantastic overview. So ransomware activity is high, but like we said, it's focused on those exfiltration-only attacks. Cloud compromise is elevated, and here attackers are using really sophisticated techniques to get around multi-factor authentication. And phishing, it's at a critical level, with bad guys spreading lures through tools we use every day, like Slack and Teams. Seeing it as a chart really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Phishing activity is just off the charts, totally critical, with ransomware not far behind. And don't sleep on that elevated cloud compromise. That represents a huge and growing threat. So who's in the crosshairs? Well, the report highlights 3 key sectors. Healthcare is getting hammered with attacks on patient portals to steal identities. The finance industry is seeing a big rise in super sophisticated phishing sites. And in education, attackers are using social engineering to trick people into installing remote access Trojans. So we know who they're targeting, but what are they using? Let's crack open the attacker's toolkit and see what new weapons they're deploying on the battlefield. Meet the new kid on the block, Silver Crate Stealer. Now, this isn't built from scratch. It's a new and improved version of the infamous Redline Info Stealer. It's mostly being delivered through pirated software sites, and its goal is super simple: steal all your data. Now, this slide shows the really critical evolution. Silver Crate isn't just a Redline copycat. It adds a dangerous new weapon, a multi-factor token grabber. This thing is designed specifically to defeat modern security like MFA by stealing the session tokens that prove you're logged in. That makes it a huge threat. Another key technique in the report is the use of LOL bins, or living off the land binaries. Think of it like this. A burglar breaks into your house, but instead of using their own crowbar, they go into your garage and use your tools to do their dirty work. Attackers are using legitimate Windows programs like PowerShell to run their commands, which makes their activity blend right in with normal network traffic. It's sneaky. All right, we've gone through the threats, we've seen the tools, now for the most important part, the fight back. This is your digital defense playbook, full of actionable steps straight from the report. KeysGuard lays out 4 high-impact actions. First, block the known IOCs. Those are the indicators of compromise, basically the digital fingerprints of the attackers. Second, disable legacy authentication in Azure. These are older, less secure login methods that attackers just love to exploit. Third, keep an eye out for processes trying to bypass user account control. And fourth, you have to actively hunt for those living off the land techniques we just talked about. Next, and listen, this is absolutely non-negotiable. Patching. The bottom line is, if you are running any of the systems on this slide, they are your top priority. The VMware and Exchange vulnerabilities are being actively exploited in the wild right now. The Fortinet and Cisco flaws are just as critical and need to be patched immediately. And to help you with that lol bin hunting, the report gives us a specific detection rule. I mean, the title alone is a powerful piece of intelligence. Suspicious proxy execution via 4 files or MSHT. This slide shows just how simple and effective these rules can be. You're basically telling your security tools to watch 2 legitimate, everyday Windows programs. If either one is suddenly seen trying to launch a command prompt or a PowerShell script, which is definitely not normal behavior, it triggers a high-level alert. It's a perfect digital tripwire for catching attackers trying to live off the land. So, we'll end with this question from the report. The threat landscape is constantly changing. Attackers are evolving their tactics every single day. The critical question we all have to ask ourselves is this: are our defenses evolving just as fast? Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.